want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No day for fantasy. Just like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just like a disease, bring them to their knees. No day for fantasy. Just like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we want retribution. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No day for fantasy. Just like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness. Make true of an empty promise. Flick cards into weak and harmless. Take to the streets and turn them to a mosh pit. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No day for fantasy. Just like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we want retribution. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh
What
yeah,
up,
we want
Nine?
retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.
Trapaholics Mixtapes.
As the 9% and word would say, make a better you, a better us.
Give them what they ask for.
Who do you think you are? I'm the word. Boy, I'm the one who put in the work.
When I move, is it a quick rumble? I won't ever fall, never stumble. And I don't need to be humble. Break down walls like Jericho crumble.
What up, though? It's the word. You see the title, we about to get into it. But before we get into that, let me get into the chat. My brother Bronze, what up, though, bro? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Hey, man, yeah, I had to take yesterday off. I wasn't feeling well. I feel a little bit better today, but yeah, so we go rock out with the topic maturity. Let's delineate. I wanted to talk about this yesterday, but we'll talk about it tonight, right? So, when we think about maturity, just the easy understanding the definition of maturity is fully developed, right? Just to sum it all up, it's fully developed, and we see that in different aspects, right? Especially when we're talking about the human experience. We see maturity in different levels because physically mature, you just have to, endure time, right? um, most people become fully grown. Well, let's just start here. Your brain becomes fully developed or fully grown at the age of 25, right? So even we just take it from that aspect on the physical aspect. So your brain is fully developed at the age of 25, 26. I can't quite remember. I know it's one of them, right? So 25 or 26. That's when your brain is fully developed. So if we think of maturity, Dee what up, sis? Dee what up, though? So if we look at physically maturing, we just say 25, because that's when your brain fully developed. That's one of the biggest components of you is your brain. But um, so when you think of things, other levels of maturity, most commonly, we think of mental maturity that involves decision making, right? How do you, my bad. Yeah, I got to cut my mustache. It's going into my mouth. But so when you think about mental maturity, yeah, you think of being able to make well thought out decisions, right? You think about your decision making. When you think about emotional maturity, right? You think about how well you handle your emotions. So that's just two. And in fact, because people become physically mature, we always associate titles such as female or male to those who have physically matured. When in actuality, I feel it's six components we should look at when it comes to the human experience of maturity. But let's just dummy it down to three right now. And if you haven't reached the level of maturity in these three, I don't think that title of man or woman should be given to people. It should be female or male, because you're only partially mature, and that's physically. That's almost innate, right? There's cases where people don't physically mature, but we looking at the largest percentages, and that just happens over time. Like I said, your brain fully develops at 25. So if you think of physical maturity, that's innate. That's gonna happen as long as you last the time of the tell of time. You will be physically mature, but that does not guarantee you that you mentally and emotionally mature. And to garnish those titles as man or woman, my opinion is you should have progressed to the level of maturity and at minimum those three factors. Now I said three, so I want to look at three other. So we know physically mature. That's just our body becoming fully developed. I'm gonna use the term develop and not grown because when something is fully developed, it still has room to grow as we do, right? So I'm gonna use the term, and y'all can correct me if I slip, but I'm gonna use the term fully developed instead of grown because Brother Gary come in the chat, grown mean you can't grow no more. So we will avoid that, right? Shout out to Gary, my 33 brother. But so we got physically, which is innate. We have mentally, which we delineate a little bit more on how to get to these levels. We just want to identify, and we got emotionally, right? Three main components of us are our emotions, our mental, our consciousness, and our physical, right? But then we have things like financial, right? Financial maturity is a thing, is just understanding how to make better decisions with your finances, right? You also have social, right? We're going to delineate more on financial too. But then you have social. That's interacting with the outside world, with the people within the outside world. So you have that level of maturity. How well do you interact, or your decision making while interacting? Mentex, so what up, though? Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. So we have social, and this is the one I feel is far more neglected, right? And that's sexual maturity, right? I think at least 98% of the population are not sexually mature. That's probably a high number. I say 90. I say 90. At least 90% of the population aren't sexually mature. And you can tell why. How can you tell that? Because of the decision making when it comes to sex. The lack of maturity in today's society is widely, I repeat, widely associated to the lack of maturity in different facets of life. I just gave you 6. We probably can go up to 13 or 12. It'll probably be aspects of different different concepts that I already gave you as far as maturity. It'll be like, breaking those down. But socially, financially, and definitely sexually, those are levels of maturity I think large population ignore. Ignore. Especially in today's society, our social skills suck. People don't even know how to talk to people respectfully no more. People don't know how to interact with people. So we avoid people. We interact with people through a machine. If it's our phones, if it's AI, if it's social media, that's how we don't have conversations with people. That's why you see these conversations going the way they go a lot of times, because in person, a lot of times people wouldn't say the things they say online. That wouldn't occur. Not in person. Frankie Blanco, top 5 alive. I'll debate anybody. What up, though, bro? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. So those 3 aspects, and like I said, we can fall back and talk about the physical, the mental, and the emotional. But like I want to delineate a little bit more on the 3. But those basic 3, that feel for people to garnish the title, you have to have at least 3 out of 6. I would prefer the first 3 I named. Those are things that but by definition, right? And this too, I want people to understand the difference between things, because a lot of times we associate words with one another, but all words have their own, even if they have similar definitions, they have different meanings, right? So a lot of times, even the word definition, right, is different from the meaning. So you have a definition of a word, right? Then you have a meaning of a word. And with that meaning is a widely subjective, for the simple fact it pertains perception and experience. Like when you look up the definition of definition, it tells you the concept of a word. But when you look up meaning, it'll tell you the same thing, the concept of the word with experience, perception involved. That's why it's subjective, because think about love. We know the definition of love, right? But we will all it means something different to all of us because of our experiences with it. So a lot of times when people come on this platform, they will give you or argue even times definition when, a person with the experience will tell you the experience. Oh, also, when you look up the definition of meaning, the biggest aspect of the definition of meaning is the biggest difference from definition of meaning is, I can't think of it top of my head. I just had it in my head and it popped up, but it explains the significance of the word. So I'm gonna use the term functional. I'm gonna give you functional definitions, right? And if you go look that up, you probably won't find it. But if you have any experience with research, you'll understand the term functional definition, because the term functional definition is, I've never seen it in a dictionary, but it's definitely applied in if you research. And what it contains is an input and output and the significance between the input and output, meaning the result, right? So a lot of times when I give you these words, like when we're talking about maturity, I'm gonna give you a functional definition now, because we know maturity means fully developed, right? We know maturity means fully developed, but how do you get fully developed? It's through time and experience. With time, you will experience. With that experience, you'll have to extract the lessons out of it, and that's where you get the level of maturity. So what does maturity look like? Like I was saying earlier, this is a functional definition of maturity. And this definition applies to 5 out of the 6. The one it doesn't apply to is the physical aspect of maturity, because to mature physically, it's going to take time. You develop over time, you get bigger, stronger. There's other things. Well, I guess if you eat the right foods, if you do the exercises, you'll mature differently, but you don't have to do that to mature, right? It happens almost innately, right? So the functional definition of maturity will not apply to that. But the 5 other, the mental, the emotional, the financial, the social, and the sexual, it definitely will apply, right? So this is the functional definition. And when I clip this, I will put it in there. I didn't have time to make it. But the functional definition of maturity is the level of experience in observing and analyzing to make better decisions. So when we think of financial, right? Financial maturity, how do you get financial mature? You have to experience, and experience covers a large plethora of things that can happen. Experiences gaining knowledge, experiences trial and error, experiences you researching, that can be incorporated with gaining knowledge. But to become financially mature, you have to experience. So when we young, we get money and we blow it. After we learn from those experiences over time, we'd be like, okay, like I told you, I done spent $800 on a pair of jeans. I would not do that today. When I did that, I was financially immature because there was no return of value in those jeans. Can I find a sucker to buy them for $800? Probably. But there's no return of value. Now I look at things like when I spend money, I look at it as what category of asset can I put it? Will this accrue value over time? I buy things like that all the time. Like gold. Yeah, buy gold, bro. Buy gold. I don't even buy gold to wear. I buy it to flip. I buy when it's down and I sell when it's up. That's a little side hustle. Only thing you gotta do is follow it. You follow it on the stocks. And trust me, I didn't put a couple thousand in my pocket doing that. Just a little side hustle. But I learned that over time. Buy things that appreciate with time, not depreciate. If it depreciate, it has to be of some immediate value. Food, or something I can get value from it. Can't sell it, but it makes my life easier. I've learned, don't just spend money on a car because it go fast or look nice. No, spend money on a car because For me, it might be a little different because I can work on cars, you know. So I like cars that's easy for me to work on, you know, something that I can just take in the backyard. If I need to do this, I can do that. I don't like all the computer chips, and I don't like. I really like old school. I can rebuild a carburetor. I ain't did it in years, but I only did it twice. But I ain't did it in years, but I can do it. You know, so that to me is value because it's easy for me to do. I don't have to pay someone else to fix it. I can fix it myself. So that when I buy vehicles, that's how I look at it. Even when I take, you know, my wife about to go get a new truck. I want something that's easy for me to work on. I don't want I got to take the tires. You know, when we bought her truck this time, wasn't really paying it. Shit, something she wanted, but something I maintenance. So just to change the headlight, I got to take the tire off. I'm like, bro, I don't feel like doing all that. So that's how I look, you know. So it might be different for someone else because they might have more or less knowledge than me. They might have more or less resources than me. Somebody who got more money than me, like, I don't care about that. I pay for somebody to fix it. Then that's fine for them. That works for them. Right? They know where they're at financially. But for me, where I can save money and still get the most value out of the car, I want to be able to touch it. So that look different. So social maturity, right? Apply that to social maturity, the decision making, how you interact with people, right? Um, for me, I'm gonna use myself as an example throughout these points, right? So for me, my social maturity came when I stopped trying to be around people who didn't better me, who wasn't beneficial to me, just to be around them, just because I know them, I grew up with them. That don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing because I am not my best with interacting with these people. I'm actually on the lower side. I'm not becoming better. I'm not maturing. I'm not getting better. I'm not developing. But hanging out with people who are non-beneficial or indecorous to my self-development. That's when I became socially mature. That's when I understood social maturity. You know, some people want to go in a room and be the smartest. I don't. I'm comfortable in rooms where I'm not the smartest. A lot of people can't do that. You know, humility. Like I said, you don't have to give it all the time. You just give it when it's needed. You know, I've learned how and when to be humble when it's beneficial. Nate the Great in the building. What up, though? Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. The tone and construct can be used like magic. Yeah. So social maturity, right? Going in environments socially that benefit me. Maturity is developed. Now, there's other aspects of that. I have to develop my decorum. You know, how I have to develop my boundaries. I have to develop my vernacular. I have to develop my understanding that the better, if I want to go in different areas, I have to be able to adapt to the decorum of those areas. I can't go into certain places and speak in ghetto. They say, oh, you been fake, or you code switching. Call it what it is. This is why people ain't allowed in certain rooms because they don't understand the decorum. You know, as humans, we have to be adaptable because everything changes. Time changes consistently. It don't stop changing. So the minute you stop adapting, being able to change with the change, that's when you get left behind. So you can call it what you want. Code switching or you fake or you no. This is what this decorum is. What I'm being is respectful to the decorum. Because that environment may have something that benefits my development. Think about this. How many people who listen to this live or listen to this on replay own a tuxedo? How many people own a tuxedo? I can tell you a lot about yourself if you own a tuxedo. That says a lot about you. Everyone just don't own no tuxedo. But if you do, that means you frequent places where you have to wear a tuxedo. Some people rent them. I got two. Because I'm used to going to formal events where I have a tuxedo. So I rented one time. And I'm like, this is a waste of money. This is an investment. Why? Because I am going into these areas. So why not invest in a tux? Not a suit. There's a difference between a suit and a tuxedo. How many people know how to tie a necktie, not a bow tie? A bow tie, not a necktie. How many people know how to tie? That says a lot about you too. In fact, I would not wear a bow tie unless I have to tie it myself. Like clip-ons. I remember my wife tried to buy me a clip-on. I'm like, don't buy me that trash. No, I need to tie it. If I don't tie it, I don't wear it. But this is because the different environments I was going in. I had to learn these environments made it necessary for me to acquire different skills, different knowledge, different understanding. That helps my development. That helped me mature socially. Because I'm from the hood. I understand that. But if you want more in life, you just got to do better. And when you do better, you get better. The different doors open up different opportunities for you. And if you be afraid to go on the door because you don't got the knowledge, the skills, well, just go pick it up. That's how I looked at it. Just go learn. Just go learn. Challenge yourself. People be afraid to challenge themselves, right? So I don't want to deviate too far from the conversation. So let me go back. Sexually mature. Like I said, a lot of the problems we have in today's society comes from the lack of maturity. People even truly understanding the concept or the functional definition of maturity. So when you think of sexually mature, that's not just when your genitalia is fully developed. No, it's your decision making with it. Your decision making with your genitalia tells you if a person is mature or not sexually. Like when people say, "Oh, I got drunk and made a mistake," that's not a mistake. You got drunk. Your decision making. If you know you can't control yourself, why would you get drunk? Because you're not mature. Your decision making. You're not mature. You're not making the best decisions for you. So sexually mature is huge. If I'm married, why would I put myself in a position with a female that a situation might occur? Now we're looking at 3 levels of maturity: mental maturity, social maturity, and sexual maturity. People who can't control their sex drive are sexually immature. Easy was over here talking about, the influence of porn. That leads to sexual immaturity. That leads to bad decision making. People buying prostitutes, people unable to control, like I said, their sex drive are sexually immature. People going out to great people, sexually immature. Their decision making with their genitalia is bad. That shows the lack of maturity. You married, stepping out on your wife or your husband, sexually immature, sexually. You willing to throw a whole marriage away just for to have some fun. What, 10, 15 minutes? Is worth what you've been building for the last 5, 10 plus years. Why? because you're sexually immature. You make bad decisions when it comes to your genitalia, man or woman. And before anybody asks who do this more or who do that, it don't matter. We're talking about the levels of maturity. I don't care if men do it more. I don't care if women do it more. It simply shows that people do not focus on their development in the sexual aspect of their life. They don't focus on that. They're sexually immature. Remember, the functional definition of maturity is decision making through observation and analyzing the situation. That's how you know when you're fully developed, because you can observe. You can make a decision that's beneficial and not detrimental. You know, we don't get all capricious just because you see a fat booty bouncing. Don't mean you got to touch it. Don't mean you got to stick it. That don't mean none of that. Being mature enough to say, okay, that's what she's doing. If you have a weakness to that, your maturity level will push you away from it. You know, people get thirsty because these women reveal their body, or even vice versa. Sometimes, you know, men might come out reveal their pecs and stuff, and women might get a little, you know, works both ways. But you even getting all riled up to a point where you declare an action, and that can be verbally or physically. Shows you're like, I'm a married man, right? I might see a beautiful woman. If I start sexually flirting with her, that shows my lack of maturity. That shows my lack of maturity. It's being able to observe and make decisions that's beneficial. That's beneficial. So a lot of these stories where you hear people, infidelity or people, oh, I got drunk and you know it was a mistake. I didn't know what. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. I hate excuses. I can't stand excuses. I can deal with explanation, but being drunk, the first question I would ask, well, do you know how you get when you're drunk? Yeah. So why would you do that and put yourself in a situation where that may occur? If you know you can't handle your liquor, maybe you should be drinking at home around people you trust or by yourself. If you drink by yourself at home, ain't nobody gonna do nothing to you. If you know you can't handle your liquor, you want to drink that much, again, I will say social maturity is low or none, and mental, just your overall decision making. So no, that's not a mistake. That's called cause and effect. Because you got drunk, you left yourself exposed and vulnerable. As I got older with experience, like I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to you. I can't even name how many times I used to drink and drive. And I make it home. I wake up the next day like, damn, I don't even remember getting home. That was my lack of maturity. I was making bad decisions. And it took not for me to get a DUI, not for me to get in a car accident, because the creator, somebody, the ancestors, everybody was looking after me because I don't have either. Never had arrest for DUI, never got drunk in a car accident, never. But it was working in the hospital, seeing people come in, and it wasn't even the people drunk coming in messed up. It was the innocent people just driving home, minding their business, not bothering nobody, not drunk, not breaking no laws, not breaking no rules, who always suffered the most. And I couldn't imagine being the person who unalived somebody because I wanted to drink and drive. So what did I do? Start making better decisions. I had a rule. If I go out, I sip on a beer. That's it. I'm not drinking no liquor. I do that at home. If I wanted some liquor, I'm making sure I ain't got to drive nowhere. If I drink more than one beer, I make sure I ain't got to drive nowhere. And even like I said, even that beer, I'd be sitting there sipping it for like 30 minutes. Right when the chill go out the bear, that's when I finish it. And then I just chill, drink some water after that. I knew my limit. 2 beers, I'm going to feel it. 2 beers, I'm going to feel it. So my decision making got better. How did that get better? I observed what I was doing wrong, and I built boundaries or standards. It's probably a better term. I created standards. If I go out and drink, this is my standard right here. This is what I can do. And standards are way of life. That's what our standards are. This is the rules and regulations we live by. You know, I created standards when it came to me interacting with females. And what turned is when my sisters got older, man. That really turned me the way I looked at females. Because, you know, maybe we'll talk about that one day. Well, you know, I kind of talked about it, but I never looked at females like, I just looked at them like, I'm just being honest and transparent. When I was younger, you know, I liked females, but ultimately it was a means to an end. I didn't really, I think it's like 2 females I was like emotionally attached to. Other than that, it was just like we have fun. You know, I get to bust it down when I feel like it, and you know, you benefit from the fruits of my labor. That's how I looked at it. You know, I always respected them. You know, I never cheated because cheating on a female was cheating on myself. That's just how I felt. I understood at a young age that if I do something in one area of the life, it'll transfer to other areas, and I just wasn't a cheater, so I didn't cheat. If I was with you, I was with you, but it was like I didn't like have a real emotional bond with a lot of the females I dated, and it's a reason why. Especially when it came to sex, I didn't like bond. It was just, you know, beat the cheeks and skeet and go. You know, after that I was good. We'll see you next time go around. You know, I get what I want, they get what they want. We cool. That's how I felt. You know, I wasn't mature. You know, even you know, with females, you know, we go on the first date, they get all. I tell them like, look, man, if we do this, I'm not gonna take you seriously. Like, I don't even really want to get to know you. This is just what it's gonna be. We can be cool like this, hang out every now and then, but this is what it is. And they say, okay, I guess thinking later on I changed my mind. Like, nah, bro, this is just what it is. You can never be my girlfriend. you can never be. I told you it was like that though. From the front, I was always on up front. This is just how it is. But even, you know, then like I said, the way I look, um, you know, when I really seen like my sisters are watching how I interact with women to understand how men are supposed to interact with them, that changed everything. Once I seen that's what they were doing. Hold on 1 second. Okay, no, we're good. But once I seen that they were watching me, I understood, like, you know, I have to create standards when it comes to women. And then I realized, like, look, every woman, you know, every woman ain't worth it. I got something very valuable here, you know, and just because she opened her legs don't mean I'm straight. But by then I was, but, but, you know, that's the standard. And honestly, what that did for me, this is why I say the meaning of things are important, not just the definition, but the meaning, because the experience I gained from that and the clarity I gave from that, it literally took away lust. I don't look at women as sex objects. Yeah, you might have a nice body, but okay, that's art. Just like if you go in a museum, you can look at a painting and say, wow, that's beautiful. That don't mean you have to touch it. You don't got to rub it. You ain't got to do none of that. You don't have to own it. You can just admire it from a distance. and appreciate the creator's work and keep it moving. You don't have to dominate and conquer everything. When I was younger, I used to think like that. I see a nice body, like, oh, I want to dominate that. I want a piece of that. Why? Because I was sexually immature. I felt I had to stick everything bouncing. No. I have to conquer that. I used to feel, I'm being honest, I conquer that. And man, I'm not going to get into that. But what I'm telling you is I'm showing you the difference. And then once I created standards, it changed my perception. It changed the mindset. Remember the difference between mindset and mind state. Mindset is a mental framework. Once I developed the mental framework of women are not sex objects, that I can admire a woman, but that don't mean I have to dominate. I don't have to control. I don't have to own. I don't have to be with. I can just admire it. Just like walking outside and looking at some beautiful flowers. You don't have to go pick it. You don't have to take one home. If you leave it in its state, you can walk by and enjoy it anytime it's there. And you can let it flourish in its natural habitat. You don't have to touch it. And women are the same to me. I think all women are beauty. But that don't mean I have to dominate, I have to be with. Nah, that don't mean that. I can admire it, okay, yeah, and call it a day. Just like I'm looking at a piece of art or a flower outside. That's when I became sexually mature. I was able to make better decisions when it came to my genitalia. Yeah. That's why I said I ain't worried about throwing my marriage away or no impulsive because I'm weak. No, I'm fully developed in my sexual aspect. I have beautiful women around me all the time. If you see two of my best friends, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. My wife is beautiful. My sisters are beautiful. I'm accustomed to being around beautiful women. I'm accustomed to that. You know, people see an Instagram model and go crazy, start spending their life fortunes and stuff. Like, bro, all because she looked good. Because you're thinking about what you can do with her. Make your decision making bad. Bad decision making. Like Easy was saying, people watching porn. I've seen people mess up their life with that. Mess up marriages because their addiction to porn. Why? They sexually immature. They have no structure. They have no discipline. To develop something, you have to have structure. To develop. So, like I said, we're going to talk about how maturity looks. So think about physically maturing, right? You have structure. You eat the proper vitamins. You get the proper minerals in, proper amino acids. What happened? You have better development. Same thing. What are those? That's structure. That's discipline. You're putting the right nutrients in your body to help it develop to the best. You're putting the right nutrients in the body to give your body the best chance to develop to its highest potential. That's what you're doing when you eat properly. You get the proper nutrition. You get the proper exercise. That's standards. That's structure. Your exercises. Right? You can do that mentally too. You put things in place that structure you and guide you to the best potential. How do you do that? It's a couple ways. Get around people who already did it or who are doing it, or research and understand it yourself. So it's different ways, but you need structure to develop things or to never grow. Think about growing a plant. You can go outside and just throw a seed in the ground and hope for it to grow. Sometimes it might. You might. There's times where I dropped the seed and then, oh my God, I got this plant. Wasn't trying to get that plant, but it came, right? Did that before a couple times. But when you do it intentionally, what do? You go get the proper soil for it to grow in. You make sure you water it. You make sure it gets sunlight. You germinate it properly. If you got to wrap it up in a piece of paper towel, stick it in some water until it starts sprouting roots, and then you put it. It's a process. It's a structure. to grow something in nature. Because if it don't get the sunlight, if it don't have the right soil, if it don't get the water, it won't grow. Just like you. So if you're not putting the structure into these different aspects financially, socially, sexually, three of the most uncommon aspects of maturity people don't focus on. If you're not putting the right structure in it, you're not going to develop. That's why you have people 60, 70 years old still making bad financial decisions. Why? Because they never fully developed. They never matured in that area of life. You got people 50, 60 years old making bad social decisions. Why? Because they never matured in that aspect of life. You got people with 14 kids and 13 baby mamas. Why? Because they haven't sexually matured. They haven't fully developed in that aspect in their life. Why is that? Because they had no structure to develop them. Without structure, you won't develop. You just won't. And that ain't even word talking to you. That's Coach D. You need structure. Without it, nothing grows. We can observe, and I can prove that all day. That's not even a debate. That's something that anybody can observe within themselves or in nature and say that I'm right. But if you're not even aware, if you're not even thinking, how can you apply structure to develop in these areas? Most people don't think about sexually maturing. They don't think about that. Like I said, sometimes you can throw a seed in the ground and you can grow something. So sometimes it happens. You know what I'm saying? Without them really focusing on it. But I guarantee you those people have structure in other aspects of life. And what are they doing? Learning from their experience. So learning from your experience also can be structured. But without doing it intentionally, you only go grow so much. I can throw a seed in the ground and it can sprout a plant, but it's only going to grow so much. If it's in the middle of the yard and I don't put no stick to it where it gives it stability as it grows up, what's going to happen? The wind or rain, something going to wash it away. If I don't put no fence around it and protect it, what's going to happen? Some wild animal going to come and eat it. So that even still needs structure to grow to its full development, to its full maturity. Even if you throw a seed in the ground and it just happened to sprout up, you still have to put structure around it for it to grow to its potential. You might grow a little bit, but you'll never reach that top potential unless you have some type of structure. But that's all I wanted to rant about. I'm going to put the link down for a minute. If anybody want to come up and talk about the topic, you're more than welcome. Oh, wrong button. Oh, for sure, man. Tech. So I appreciate you just coming through, bro. Listening to me rant for a minute. Yeah, this is something I just had on my heart. I forgot what motivated it. I remembered, but limit yourself to things you can't control. Yeah. Busy Blind. What up, though, bro? My bad. I was cooking. I didn't even see you. Salute my G. Your wise words. Everything is everything. Have been in the forefront of my mind since we spoke. That's what's up, bro. That's what's up, man. I'm just trying to plant seeds and hopefully they grow, bro. My bad. I'm going back to the chat now. Yeah, if y'all new to StreamYard, y'all want $10 off, man, hit that link. I do get an affiliate link now. I think I've been had it. I just started putting it up, but yeah, that is. I don't know what it'll do. I didn't even read. I don't know if I get paid off of that or not, but it give you $10 off. It don't really matter if I get paid, but you get $10 off if you hit it. So if you get StreamYard, or if you don't have StreamYard, I think you can't have it. Or yeah. There's a referral link down there. It gives you $10 off. I ain't worried about me. That's just something for the people who, I can't pin the link. Something to chat real quick. Yeah, and then I got some other stuff coming too. So y'all know I got the Discord. So I am planning on doing a little coaching in the Discord. So I'm gonna create another tier called the strategist, right? And what that contains is we will talk about different strategies to help you reach different goals. Whatever your goal in life, I help you design a strategy about it. So the people in that tier, not only do you get a monthly session, a group session with me, but individuals in there get their own individual 30-minute session with me. There are stipulations to that. We'll discuss that, once I create it. But the strategists will meet once a month. And if you can't, because it's different time zones and all that. And unfortunately, I have to do it when I'm available. I can't, go around and see when everybody's available. But that will be under the content of the strategist, those meetings we have. So if you have that tier, you'll be able to still get the information if you wasn't there. But also with that, like I said, you will get a one-on-one 30-minute coaching session with me. And normally I charge anywhere from 35 to 45. And I'm being honest, once that tier begins to grow, I am going to have to up it, right? But the people who get on the ground floor, you will get grandfathered in, regardless. If you started, when I said it, you'll start at $9.99, but as that community grows, I'm gonna have to up the prices. And when I do, the people who started with that will get grandfathered in. You might not have the title, but you'll have all the benefits. I am because the people who started it at the 9, y'all the ones who helping me build it. So I'm not gonna change up on you. But that's one free coaching session a month, and then you get one group coaching session with that. And like I said, I don't like talking about it. I like being about it. And the better you are, the better we are. Better you is the better us. So I can play my part in helping not only develop other people, but it helped me develop too. Helping you is helping me, and you helping me is gonna help you. That's how the community. That's how I'm building the community. A better you is a better us. The better we are individually, the better we gonna be collectively. You dig? So I will be doing that soon. And I don't know. I want to work on merch. I just don't want to make it and nobody buy it. So maybe we'll do a poll or something like that to really see who's interested in the merchandise. If you're interested in it, well, I'm willing to get it, create it. But I just don't like wasting my time. And you in those sessions, you won't be dealing with Word. You'll be dealing with Coach D. A little different, because it's an occupation. It's something I do. I don't like wasting my time. So, but we'll talk about all that when it's done. But that is coming soon, so we're gonna do that too. And I still want to strike up a podcast with my 33 brother. We was thinking about doing it on the weekend, like on a Saturday midday. So I want to get back on that. Like I just had a lot of stuff going on these last couple months, and I had to put some things to the back burner to put some things on the front, right? I only got a couple spaces on the stove, but sometimes you take stuff from the back and put it on the front, let it cook for a while, then you can put it back on the back, let something on the back to the front, cook that for a while. So that's what we gonna do, right? That's what we gonna do. But the link is dropped. I don't know if it's pinned. Yeah, the link is pinned. Drop. So anybody got any questions on the content, on the subject, feel free to hit the link. But maturity, think of that functional definition, your observation, being able to observe the situation, the circumstances, and make the best decision for your benefit. That's an easy definition. That's an easy functional definition of maturity. And like I said, it applied to 5 out of the 6 aspects I gave you. It applied to 5 out of the 6. So that's what I like to do. I just don't like to tell you things. I like to tell you how to get it done. I think that's important. Look for that, man. Look for that. Do people just say things, or do people tell you how to get the things done they say? That's how you know people real. That's how you know the conviction. Because if I can just sit up here and tell you stuff all day, and I can sound smart while I'm saying it, that's easy. I'm not even joking. A lot of times, like I said, I project myself. I project myself as a lower form than a higher form, because it's not important for y'all to think I'm charismatic. It's more important for y'all to understand what I'm saying, right? That's what's important to me. To really understand, I don't want you to feel good about what I say. I want you to download what I say. I can make you feel good. That ain't hard. Ask my wife. I can use words to make you feel good all day. But I don't care about that. I don't care if you feel good or not. That's up to you. Your feelings are yours. I can't really do nothing. That's up to you to feel good or not. What I'm trying to do is pass or share information. So that's what's important. I want what I say to germinate in your brain. That's what I want. And I can't do that. I want to bypass them emotions. Hey, it's a slow night tonight, huh? Ain't nobody woke. It get warm and y'all people be gone. They be out and about. But it was snowing here today. Marlbone. Who else? I don't really see nobody on. I know. Shout out to Speak. Yesterday was Speak birthday. I wasn't even on the internet, man. I had a migraine. I couldn't see nothing. Like everything was blurry yesterday, man. I thought my shunt wasn't working for a minute, but it was raining real bad, and I get real bad migraines. That barometric pressure in the clouds, boy. When old people say, "Oh, it's about to rain because my knees hurt," hey, I get migraines, bro. So I know when it's about to rain too. But when that pressure in the clouds, man, my eyes get the water in and stuff. My vision is just, I don't know, bro. So I was all messed up yesterday. Usually I can, drink some coffee and then I can get through it. But yesterday was just a bad day. So I was chilling, man. I was feeling nauseous, like I was going to throw up. I'm like, damn, man. That's why I thought my shunt wasn't working. But as soon as the storm went down, probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, I started feeling better. Usually it take me a while to get going, like 1, 2 o'clock, I start feeling normal. On an average day, but it take me about a couple hours to feel. I be feeling like you remember the Wizard of Oz, the Tin Man. I be feeling like the Tin Man before he got oil for like the first couple hours of the day. I pushed through it, but I be feeling like the Tin Man, and then after he got the oil, he start dancing and move. That's how I be, man. I wake up, I be feeling all like I be feeling locked up, man. And then a couple hours later, I be moving and grooving. I be straight. I'd be straight. But yeah, yesterday was a bad day, but we got through that and we here tonight. Today started off bad, but everything always get good. Being bad is only temporary, bro. Everything in life is temporary. Even life itself is temporary, man. So whatever you're going through, the only reason you stay in situations and ruts because you keep yourself there. Other than that, the situation, everything always pass, bro. It should always go past. That's why they get that ideology of weather the storm, because yeah, it's hell when it's here, but it's go past. And the sun go come back out and then the day go look pretty. Never tell it it's storm. So it's about being in a moment, man. That's what life is about. So many people think in the past, they put themselves there and they be all sad. So many people think about the future and they get all anxiety, stressing out about what may or may not happen. Very few people can be present, be in the moment. It takes practice, but and I told you how to do that. Become aware. That's the very first step. When you thinking too far in the future, tell yourself, hey, that's not even here yet. Focus on now. What can I do now to make this situation better? Okay, yeah, I just thought about all this bad stuff that could happen, but what can I do right now to make that situation better? I told y'all, look, I ain't trying to tell you how to think, but I gave you another way to think. Right? When you start thinking all the bad stuff that's gonna happen, flip the switch, man. Flip the switch. Think about all the good stuff that can happen. When you start thinking about why things can't happen, start trying to find reasons why it can happen. You have to reshape your reality, man. And that's what I am. I am a reality coach. To reshape your reality, you got to reshape the way you think. I ain't gonna tell you my secret though. I got a secret to do that too. I definitely got a secret to help you reshape your thinking. I done told y'all it ain't even a secret because if you've been rocking with me, I've been telling you the whole goddamn time I've been on here. Since day one. You go back and watch my very first video, you'll hear it. You'll hear the secret. My very first, second, third, every fucking video I ever did, you'll hear my secret within. But that's how you reshape your reality. You gotta change the way you think, man. Stop thinking can't and stop thinking how. How to get things done versus I hate when I say it. And then like when people don't even try things, right? That's why I say there's a difference between the definition of something and the meaning of something. But when people don't even try things and tell you why it won't work, that tells me a lot about a person's personality right there. That tells me a lot about a person's personality. When the first thing, and with no experience, I see if you had experience, and even with experience, guess what? Maybe you just didn't know how to do it the right way. Maybe you ain't have the right information. Maybe you ain't have the right resources. You know, a lot of times we have the right information and still can't make things happen because we don't have the resources, man. And that's reality, right? It just don't take brain power. You just can't know. You can have all the answers, but if you ain't got no way to apply it, if you ain't got the resources behind you, so you got to acquire both knowledge and resources. And a lot of times you don't even have to acquire the resources yourself. You just got to know somebody who got the resource and become a resource to them. I mean, that's how a community is. You know, it ain't one person in the community that got the farm growing the food and milking the cows and got the chicken for meat and eggs. No, it ain't just one person. You got a person who specializes in this, person who specializes in that, person specializes in that. The doctor ain't the dentist. You see what I'm saying? The doctor ain't the butcher. You just put resources. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to have everything. Just put the people around you who got it or who know it. That's all you got to do. Put the people around you who got it or who know it, and you're good to go. You're good to go. Become a resource to receive a resource. That's bartering, bro. One of the oldest ways to acquire things is bartering. How do you barter properly, though? You have to be a resource to someone else. You have to have something that somebody else wants to barter. That's how you barter is an exchange. It can be exchange of services. I can be getting a service because I'm giving knowledge. Yeah, come over here. Let me teach your kids. Y'all want to homeschool? Guess what? I'm a former school teacher. I will homeschool y'all kids if y'all make sure I got groceries and whatever else I need. We can be living like that, bro. I might have the finances, the money, right? Okay, look, I know how to work on cars, but brother, since you work on cars, and I can let you work on the car. I got a resource. You ain't got the money. Okay, I got money. Don't worry about it. I'm rich. I got money. You work on car. What you stream? Okay, I can pay you. This is how you build a community. You keep the money flowing because when whatever I need or whatever I do, they gonna have to come back to me. Even if I was the teacher, okay, I'm a teacher, right? I'm gonna teach y'all kids. I'm gonna homeschool y'all kids, right? But guess what? My car needs service. So I've been homeschooling your kids for 3 months, so I should be able to get this amount or this level of service to my car. And you over there, all right? I need some new clothes. You make dresses. I've been homeschooling your kids for this month. I need some clothes. You over there, you got good. That's we can thrive like that. It ain't always got to be money. Even as content creators, what kind of content you do? Okay, well, if you do a subject and you can use my services, call on me. And if I do a subject and I can use your services, I'm gonna call on you. I want to talk about this topic. I sold life insurance before, but I'm not an active life insurance agent. So, if I want to talk to my people to be responsible, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call my boy Alonzo. Hey Alonzo, hey, do me a favor. Yeah, I want to have this topic about life insurance. Why don't you come over and you know, and you can have dialogue because I know about it. I'm just not licensed right now. But if I can get a licensed professional on here, it'll just validate a lot of the conversations we was having. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me on things, right? He might need a life coach. He might want to implore why you should get life insurance and add a mix. Okay, well, I'm gonna have a life coach come over and tell you about the benefits of it. I'm gonna have a life coach come over here and strategize about different goals, like financially. We can see different tools we can use to better strategize, get different strategies that we can use for our finance information. Man, we supposed to be doing that with one another, but people they pride, man. They pride, man. People use pride when it don't need to be used. Supposed to have pride in self, not when you're dealing with other people. Not on that level. Your ego get in the way. Everybody want to be the smartest in the room. Okay. That's why since I came over, I've been telling people to use me, man. Use me. But y'all better use this shit up here in my head. I've been telling people that shit. Just tell me when to come through. We can rap about it. Ask me whatever. You know what I'm saying? Use my expertise, man. I do this shit in real life, man. Use me. 2 years, man. Very few people did that. Very few people. But shit, I use every single last one of you MFers if I got to. Watch me. We're all here to be used. What we ain't supposed to do is be abused. No point in having a skill or gift or blessing and not blessing the people with it. So yeah, use me. Don't abuse me though. I don't abuse nobody. I don't use nobody for my sole benefit. That's abuse to me. Using somebody if I use you, we both go benefit. Not only we go benefit, but the people listening to us go benefit. That's what happened when I use you. The people, it's gonna be really the other people go benefit from our dialogue. It's gonna be the people who benefit from the dialogue we have when I use people. It's not gonna be for my own financial gain or for my own benefit. No, I'm even coming on here talking to y'all. This don't benefit me. It's therapeutic, so I guess it do. It's therapeutic. But I mean, I can go on different platforms. Shit, I can just record and get the same results. I give people opportunity to pick my mind, ask questions. That's why I leave the chat open. I open the panel. Very few people do that. Very few people do it. And at times it's disappointing because look, when I get big, you ain't gonna have that access no more. It's not gonna be there. Or when I'm gone, not even if I get big, but shit, one day I might just wake up like I'm straight. This is what people need to understand opportunity. You give me the opportunity to pick somebody's brain, I'm gonna pick it. I'm gonna take that opportunity. Opportunities aren't lost, they just taken by other people who are more aware. That's what happens with opportunity. They're taken by other people who are more aware. Ain't no perfect time. Ain't no when I feel, nah, man, when it's there, it's there. You either take it or somebody else will. That's how opportunities work. So I've learned to, hey, even if I ain't ready for it, if I take an opportunity and I don't get the result I want, at least I got the experience. So I know how to better prepare myself for when it come back around. That's how it always worked for me. It's the opportunities that I never took that never come back around. They never come back around. The ones that I took, and maybe I failed at the first time, or I didn't succeed in the way I wanted to, those always came back around for me. So always, when I see opportunity, I take it. It's the ones that I never tried that never come back around. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that one day. Opportunity. But yeah, but if ain't nobody go come up or ask a couple more minutes, we're ended. My 9 ain't even in the building. What's today? Thursday? I know Commander will be taking my brain. Where Rachel at? I leave for one day and everybody forget about me. Then I'll just play. Let me shut up till they crucify me later. I know Gary's sleep. He'll listen to it in the morning. Stoic and Ozzy, they probably at work. Team Blackout, he probably sleep too. Or at work. But I know I got Dee Dee. And it's probably Bronze and Nate in the chat too. I don't know, Dee. It might just, I don't know. I think it might just be me and another person. In Lakes, yeah, it's a slow night. This shit is dry. Yeah, we just go pop off. Man. I'm just pop off at the look for another moment. Then I'm gonna get my behind off of here. Let's go early. It's only 1:42. I don't know what else I gotta do. I got something else to do tonight. Yeah, I get my furniture this weekend, so I probably won't be on. We moving everything around the living room. We'll redecorate it. Get new furniture in the living room. And I think we're getting, well, I told you don't buy it yet. I'll buy it next week. We're getting a new area rug. We get hardwood floors. So we'll put a new area rug in the living room. I'm used to carpet, man. I'm just used to carpet. I like hardwood floors, but I need some type of carpet, man. I grew up with carpet everywhere, stuff on the wall. But I did have a cousin who, I don't know why he put carpet on the wall. It was his, and that was before, what was that movie, Get Into the Greek? It was before that. And he put a patch of carpet on the wall. And he just said it was a structural reason. He was right. Yeah, but, that's the key of maturity and how to get it. You need discipline. And within that discipline, you create structure. Well, within the structure, the discipline will develop. You practice the structure over time, you will develop the discipline, but you definitely need structure to develop. You'll have those places where, like I said, you can throw a seed in the grass and sometimes it grows. But if you don't put the proper structure around it and continue to nurture it, it's only going to grow so much. So even that needs structure. Sometimes we just get things, through the experience of life, the experience to teach us something, but we still have to develop it even more to get the most out of it. I challenge people with that, man. I challenge that. Why not become the best version of yourself? Especially, man, if you got little ones, man. You want them to see the best version of you so they understand what they're on the child. So they have something to inspire to. You know, our kids watch us, man. Not only our kids, but, it might be somebody young in your neighborhood. Like, even when I was working, like, hmm, like I said, my best friend to this day, one of my best friends, My other best friend here, she gonna tear my head off. So she almost got at me at my 40th birthday party, like, I'm the best friend. I'm the number one. I'm like, all right. She almost got at me. But shout out to her, man. Shout out to her. But yeah, even him, man. You know, he was just a young buck. He admired me. He looked up to me. And he was like, "You my mentor." I'm like, "I ain't your damn mentor." He was like, "Yes, you is." And then I'm just watching this young buck, and I realized, like, look, man, he's just looking for a good role model, somebody, you know, uh, to inspire to. And I didn't know him at the time, but now that I know him, he has people in his life. But you know, he chose me. So who am I? You know, so I have to be better for him to give him a benchmark in different areas. I got to be a good husband because he watching how I'm being a husband to my wife. I have to be a good father because he watching how I'm being a father to my kids. Somebody always watching you, man. Every action you take has potential to influence someone. Every action, every word, and just being mindful of that, man. That's maturity. That's maturity. When you hear people just crashing out, just doing things, I ain't no role model. Look, if you like it or not, somebody watching, and your actions, including your words, has the potential to influence someone. So you don't have to be a role model or want to be a role model to be a role model. If it's good or bad, you're a role model. People are watching. That's just what it is. There's a lot of things I don't want in life, but they exist. So it's a reality, if I like it or not. I used to say that all the time. I ain't no role model. No, just listen to what I say. Don't do what I do. Because I ain't that type of, I just have to do better, man. Program is bigger than all of us, man. We are just cogs in the fucking machine, man. We just cogs, man. We're a grain of sand, bro. Program is much bigger than it, but we all play an integral part. Without that one cog, shit fall apart. And we see that in today's society because we have no role model. No one is inspiring to do best or do better or get better. People just like to say shit. People just like to, I feel like I'm this. I feel like I'm that. You ain't shit, bro. Just look at your actions. Look what you do. You can say all the beautiful things, but it's what you do. Now, I ain't saying I'm perfect, but what I can say, I'm progressing. I'm doing better. I can identify when I do wrong and adjust. And that's what I do. And when people see that in me, they be like, damn, that's okay. We see how to do it. I'm not just going to sit up here and make an excuse. I was having a bad day. I can say that for half of the shit I do. But if I'm having a bad day, I need to put myself in a better position to have a good day. That's just what it is. So it don't matter if you want to be a role model or not. People still watching you, and your actions and your words have the potential to influence you. So if you want better around you, you first must have to do better. And you have to be the influence on the environment. Just in life. Sometimes you take yourself out of the old environment and put yourself in the new one. Sometimes you got to create the environment, like what we're doing over here. I can be me because I'm in my own element. I'm in my this my shit, so I can be me. I influence the environment. I dictate what happens. Just like my home, I dictate what happens inside the home. What happens outside, I have no control over a lot of that, but I can control what happens on the inside. So that's what I focus on. The things that I can control. The things that I can't control, well, I have to learn how to control myself within that environment. And like I said, I can be the influence. But that takes time. You got to build yourself up to that. Where you can be the influence. You have to build yourself up to be that. We all have the potential to do so. If it's up to you, it's up to me to do it. We all got the potential. We all can acquire the abilities if we don't already have them. Even if you don't have the ability, you can acquire it. It's just up to you to go get it. It's good to say things. It's harder to do. Yes, baby. You supposed to be sweet, mama. Yes, baby. You want Bubba? You want Bubba? Where's that? You have to give me Bubba for me to put milk in it. Right there. I get it. I'll be right back, okay? Right back, mama. My bad. Little mama woke up like, Daddy, Bubba. Right now, she keeps coming out of the prison. Don't wake Didi up, mama. No, Louise. Don't wake him up. I know, mama. Now come lay down. You come lay down. Lay down. I'll be back. Okay? I'll be right back. All right, y'all. Let me get my butt off here. I'm about to get my Mr. Mod. What up, though? What up, though, sis? Well, my bad. I said you was about yesterday. I was having horrific migraine. I was laid in the bed all day. Shout out to my wife for taking care of me. But yeah, I'm about to get my butt off here. I'm about to get my butt off. I was just spitting for a minute, talking about different aspects of maturity and added some names and gave a working definition. Totally worth the replay, not too long, an hour. You probably get to the first 40 minutes and get the meat and potatoes, you know. But yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. You know, life be life in mine. I already know. You know, this be one of them nights that not a lot of people on, but life be life in mine. And replay value, hopefully it got, a high replay value. I think it would, I was cooking for a minute, but yeah, definitely talk about maturity. Hopefully you get some nuances, to maturity, within the content. But let me get my butt off here. Y'all know what I always say. Care about how you feel. These are conversations that create nation. And if I say anything that resonated with you, do me a favor. Tell somebody to tell somebody. Help me spread the word. But until next time, we out.